It took 2 weeks, but now the season-ending Dick Weber PBA playoffs is down to its final 6. The Cinderella story, Randy Weiss. The feel-good veteran charges of Jurek and Steve Jerus. The exuberance of Dick Allen. And the tournament favorites, #1 seeds Chris Barnes and Jason Belmonte have all moved on. Today, 3 more advance and 3 move out at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Welcome you to the 3rd of 4 consecutive weekends of PBA playoff coverage. The Dick Weber PBA playoff field has gone from 156 to 6. Today, 3 more get sent packing. Glad you're with us this Sunday. Rob Stone, PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson with you. The theme from week 1, upsets. Last weekend's theme, #1 seeds moving on as both Jason Belmonte and Chris Barnes advanced to today's show. The theme for this Sunday, TBD. We do know one thing, a major format change, Randy.
Completely different now. We're going from 3-player matches to head-to-head competition. Today, 3 players will punch their ticket to the finals. Let's take a look at our brackets. Steve Jaros will take on Randy Weiss in our first match, followed by Dick Allen and Jurek. And in our last match, in my opinion, our most intriguing matchup of the day. It'll be Raw Power meets Maple Moxie when Jason Belmonte meets Chris Barnes.
Here is Belmo last weekend. Strong finish to take care of Dino Castillo and Brad Angelo. Then Chris Barnes sealing the 6th and final spot in our round of 6.
Yeah, a very business-like type of game for Chris Barnes. No open frames and a very clean 2-17 game.
Time now for the introductions for match #1.
A 7-time winner on the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour with 1 major title, Steve Jerus.
Jerus, the East Regional winner, took down Scott Norton and Tom Smallwood with a 258. 1 pin more than Smallwood. Jerus versus Weiss. First ball. First strike.
Yeah, just like we saw him in his winning match, going nice and straight early.
A former exempt player with 8 PBA regional titles and 4 career PBA Tour top 10 finishes, Randy Weiss.
South Carolina native, resides in Columbia right now. Your South Region winner. Had a 239, 1 more than Tommy Jones. Also took care of Ryan Schaefer in that 3-man South Region Championship match. Goes Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was just a big elbowed shot, and anytime you do that, the ball is almost always going to go left. Watch this. Watch the follow through go pretty straight, but you see the hand turns early, and that's the old chicken wing. Rob, chicken wing.
I was hungry. That's why I got distracted when you said that. Weiss curls that one in for the spare.
All right, slow down. Nice shot, buddy. Nice shot.
Here's Randy's arsenal for today's show.
Going with Anarchy, the strongest ball that he's brought to the championship pair of lanes. Got a unique roll and a unique style, Rob, in that he kind of shoves it through the front part of the lane, but the roll is kind of an end-over-end heavy roll.
Said his ball always seems to roll earlier than the other competitors.
All right.
Seeing that time there, he just showed you that heavy end-over-end roll where that ball actually rolled out and stopped before it completely got to the 1-3 pocket. Watch this. You see the hand underneath. There's that kind of end over end roll, and then you see how it starts to go left and then it quits.
Right off, man. Right off.
Back-to-back 9 spares for Weiss as he gives way to Steve Jaros, 7-time tour titleist on the Lumber Liquidator PBA Tour. His first telecast of the season began rather 2 weeks ago when he won the East. The back-to-back opening jacks for Jerus, the native of Yorkville, Illinois. His wife, June, here. And the lead at 11 as we check in on Jerus's arsenal today, going with the Marvel.
And I don't need to tell you that that's a really strong hook rating.
Hard to go higher than 10.
Exactly.
According to my sources.
Liked it.
Shot.
Just tipped
Good
up
shot.
a pinch high on him, leaving a 4-pin. But, you know, just like in his match, when he bowled against Scott Norton and Tom Smallwood, edging out Smallwood by a pin, he looked loose then. He looks nice and relaxed now. Looks like he's in his comfort zone, and he's able to play the lanes the way he likes to play them. Nice and direct.
It's a very pleasant stroke as well. The follow-through extended up high. None of it looks forced. None of it looks overbearing.
But don't kid yourself. If he had to move in and hook it, he can do that as well. Again, we talk about it on a weekly basis. Being versatile out here is a must.
Some shots.
Randy Weiss, best finish this year, was 60th at the Pepsi Viper Championship. Way right of target.
Quit fighting it, dude. Fighting it.
Quit fighting it, dude, is what Randy's saying to himself.
See that follow through go dead left. Lost it at the bottom of the swing and tried to save it, but the swing direction in the downswing was telling that bowling ball to go right. His mind was like, no, don't throw it to the right. And so you see that follow through as an overcompensation. Look out. Well, right now, Randy is all over the place and obviously not very comfortable.
Again, a non-exempt player, Randy Weiss. Not a lot of TV experience. This is just his second weekend ever on television. Makes a ball change. Good change. And a good time for it. So many times, Randy, we see guys make changes in the 6th, 7th, or 8th frame where it's already too late. And there, Weiss, knowing he needs a win to move on, makes a change in the 4th, and it pays off.
Well, Rob, the hardest thing about bowling head-to-head competition in a one-game match on television is not being indecisive. You get practice prior to going on the air, and you must decide what ball and what line and be confident with it.
Another strike for Jerus. You saw that graphic. You see lined up that shot, making at least one TV appearance per season for 20 consecutive seasons. We asked him about that the other day, and he said, yeah, it's a pretty cool stat. You know, shows my consistency year to year. And he pulls it off in the last tournament of the season as his wife, June, and kids had a front row seat. And his dad is in control early in the conference championship round versus Randy Weiss. Strike number 4 for Jerus.
Well, there were no buys for either of these two players, and Steve Jerus, like Randy Weiss, had the bowl through each and every round to get to this position. And right now, Steve Jerus has got a beautiful blueprint of the oil pattern and what the lanes are giving him and allowing him to do. And right now, he's performing flawlessly.
Up 35, Weiss to close out the 5th. Back-to-back jacks after that ball change for Randy Weiss.
And Rob, you know, I said you got to make a decision on how you're going to play the lanes and be committed to it. But if it doesn't work, You got to abandon ship and go directly to something else, and that's exactly what Randy Weiss did in the 4th frame, and it paid off. There's a double.
So a nice recovery by Weiss after that open frame in the 3rd. He had the 1-2-8 and just clipped the 2-pin. Strike, strike since then. We begin the 6th.
Late.
10 will drop. A big break late for Weiss. Could have been a nasty split opportunity. Instead becomes a manageable spare shot.
Very unusual approach as he looks down at the floor, and then about halfway through his approach, he picks his eyes up to focus on a target down the lane. But you're right. I mean, this is a nice break in that he doesn't leave a split, but he really needed a strike there.
Able to clean that one up, but it's Steve Jerus in control. Your East Region winner. Closing in on a berth in the final 3 here at the PBA Dick Weber playoffs. Match number 1's conclusion when we return to Indianapolis. Welcome back to Woodland Bowl and ESPN's continuing coverage of the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Time now for our weekly installment of the Lumber Liquidators Know the Wood.
The 39-foot Dick Weber oil pattern was designed to maximize creativity. This oil pattern also lends itself to multiple angles because there's a little more oil in the middle part of the lane, and it's a relatively short oil pattern. But most importantly, this pattern allows the bowlers to play to their strengths.
What are the strengths of Steve Jerus's game, Randy?
You're looking at it. Nice and straight, keeping his target in front of him, taking his hand out of it. Nice, soft touch at the bottom of the swing, and allowing the oil pattern to take the ball to the pocket. See his hand on the side there, wrist broken back. That's a weak, soft release indicator.
Get around it, get around it. Oh, no. Are you kidding?
7-10 split.
Oh, jeez.
We have seen a lot of 7-10s through the course of our PBA playoff coverage here.
Oh, I've seen a few of these today.
Randy Weiss got choice of starting lanes via a coin toss, so he wanted Jaros to start the match, which made Jaros the first player to bowl out of the break. Now, Jaros did throw a really good shot there. That's just a bad break. A lot of times we see guys come out of the commercial break and go right through the nose and leave big splits,
All right, wasn't bad.
But not the case for Jaros. Unfortunately, it's an open frame.
First open frame of this match for Jerus. Weiss had one in the 3rd. Back on the strike train.
Throw like that. Throw like that.
Jerus was 9th at the U.S. Open. Was actually disappointed
Like that.
in that finish. Season-wise, feels like he bowled well, particularly in the second half of the campaign. Again, this final event of this PBA season. Weiss working off a spare in the 7th.
Carry one.
Leaves the 10.
And that's the only downside when you're trying to throw a straighter shot with less revolutions and less power is the weak 10. If you don't get your ball to hit hard enough, you're going to leave a soft 10 every time, unless you have really good angles.
Spare number 4 for Weiss. Coming up after this match, Dick Allen and Jack Jurek square off. And then our final match today, Jason Belmonte and Chris Barnes, 2 #1 seeds battling as you take a look at some of the other finishers here at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs.
That's a sign of a man whose hands are tied behind his back trying to throw the bowling ball forward. Very unsure of his ball reaction. He's afraid to let it go to the right too far. Pinches it at the bottom of the swing ball, hooks early and goes Brooklyn.
Third strike for Weiss. Jerus has 5 thus far and working off of 1 in the 8th.
No, not there. Gosh.
And just when it seemed like this was going to be a rout, we're going to have a 1 or 2 pin match after he shoots the 2-8-10.
Man, this right lane suddenly causing Jerus a lot of issues.
And he has, excuse me, he has to finish the 10th frame on that lane. And obviously the right lane being an issue the last couple of times up. But Steve Jerus, what's going on with that right lane?
Well, I saw it just kind of carrying down a little bit. The shot on out of the commercial break with the 710 wasn't that bad. Ball hung up just a little bit, and tried to make sure I got really clean through the bottom. I just accelerated too quick.
Thanks, Steve.
So Steve at 153 through 8. We begin the foundation frame 9th.
Hit it now. God.
Thank you.
Trouble.
The 10 pin.
Trouble, Robbie. He spares here. The best he can shoot if he strikes out is 203. Randy Weiss can strike out 9th and 10th and shoot 221.
Let's also remember, though, Randy Weiss is a little bit lost. He's in a good position score-wise.
Sure.
But on the lanes, not so much. He did strike in the 8th, but that was Brooklyn.
Without question. But after 5 frames, like I said earlier, this had the makings of a rout. And right now it's a 2-pin match. Randy Weiss can take the lead with a strike here in the 9th frame.
Both of these guys know about tight matches. They both won the regional championship matches by 1 pin.
And remember how Randy Weiss did it. He struck out all 3 in the 10th to do that.
Bottom of the 9th.
Carry 1.
Oh, my.
Are you kidding me, 8 pin?
It's a great shot, buddy.
Audacious.
That was a good shot.
The shot of his bowling career, trying to punch his ticket to the finals. He pures it to leave a stone 8. That's like getting punched repeatedly in the gut.
Key now, though, is getting that focus back and taking care of the single pin spare. And then doing the math.
Well, Rob, here's the deal. No matter what Randy Weiss does now in the 10th frame, he cannot shut out Steve Jerus because of that solid 8 pin. But you know what? If you want to take a step back and maybe look at a little poetic justice, the strike that he threw in the 8th frame was Brooklyn.
And he's back on that left lane here in the 10th. Got it.
Last 2 shots.
Good shot.
Spectacular. Now, does he have it in him? Remember, once again, he struck out in the 10th frame to beat Tommy Jones by 1 pin to get here today. How much does this man have left? Only his 2nd time ever on television. Watch those eyes.
Closed, opened, focused, release.
Look out.
Lay.
And a little
310. Not very good.
baby split with a 310.
If he converts, he shoots 191. Steve Jerus can go 9 spare strike in the 10th frame and win by 1. If Steve Jaros feels 20 in the 10th, it's over. Got it. That's big. That extra pin is big. If Steve Jerus gets less than 7 on his first ball, he loses. Remember the last time up on this lane, he got 7. 7-2, 2-8-10. Look out.
No way.
Gets 8 but leaves a split.
Has to make this and then strike on the fill shot. He has to slide the 4 into the 10. And I promise you, that pull, that little tug, was a direct result of what happened in the 8th frame when he went light.
Weiss, the non-exempt bowler, your complete Cinderella story of this Dick Weber PBA playoffs, is this much closer to taking a step to the final 3 in next week's live broadcast. Jerus must convert this.
Great try.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And Weiss lives to bowl again. 191. 179.
Andrew, love you, buddy.
And Randy comes by to sign the bracket. An improbable victory over Steve Jerus. How many people had him in their brackets?
Wow. Man,
Not many. And here's Randy with Randy.
Wow, talk about some up and down roller coaster emotions going on in that match. What were you thinking when Steve Jaros got up in the 10th frame?
I figured he's a great player. He's going to put it there. It was just a matter of whether or not they were going to fall.
Well, this is only your 2nd time on television. Did you ever expect yourself to get this far?
I never expected it, but I'm always hoping every time I put my shoes on.
You punched your ticket to the finals. How does it feel?
And it is a feeling I will never be able to describe with words.
Thanks, Randy.
You can hear it in his voice just how happy he is. Yeah, let it out, Randy. Smile, man. Show those teeth, buddy. You are on to the championship round next Sunday. Up next, who will join him? Will be that man, new dad, Dick Allen. Another South Carolina native with a ripper, Jack Jurek. Find out, Central versus Midwest when we return. Call him Richie. Dick Allen changed his name and upped his game at the same time, nearly throwing a 300 in his last appearance here at the Dick Weber PBA playoff. Today, Allen squares off with veteran Jack Jurek in the Central Conference Championship. Can the new and improved Allen continue to dazzle? Welcome back to one of the great stops in America's bowling belt, Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson here with you. Our continuing coverage of the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. And up now, the Central Regional champion, Dick Allen, taking on your Midwest champion, Jack Jurek. This week's Just for Men hair color live forward moment. This just moments ago, Jack Jurek and his coach and their conversation.
Should I try and be a little straighter? Should I try and be a little straighter?
Yeah, or just trying, maybe just trying, like Richie's got the deal where he lofts it up over the top. Just trying to get out of the lane.
Well, I got to be honest, I don't think that's very good advice. Jack Jurek is not a player that likes to loft the bowling ball. He gets it down real early. I think the advice is, yeah, move right, and if you want to go straighter, increase the speed so the ball will stay on line. But to tell him to start lofting is basically telling him to bowl like somebody else.
So we'll see if Jurek follows the advice. Here's the intro for our match.
A 2-time champion on the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour with 9 PBA regional victories. THB, Dick Allen.
THB standing for typical house bowler, something he has tattooed on him. And there is the formerly known Richie Allen, now goes by the more fatherly name of Dick Allen. Again, Dick and his wife Sarah, proud to announce the birth of their first child on March 3rd, Piper Bailey Allen. Again, those initials, coincident, PBA.
Are you sure it's a coincidence?
It is a coincidence, and that is not how Mr. Allen wanted to start.
And I was down lane watching the players warm up, and Richie Allen looked really solid throughout the entire practice session, throwing strike after strike, especially on the left lane. This one, not so much.
It's probably been the most solid bowler from start to where we are right now at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Gets the count, but an open frame in the first.
He owns 2 career Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour titles and 12 PBA regional victories. The Ripper, Jurek.
Jack second at this season's USBC Masters, where he was the #1 seed, fell to Tom Hess in the title match. 2 top 20 finishes this season, and they came in the last 3 tournaments of the season leading up to this one.
Well, there was no loft in that shot. Unfortunately, the speed's not fast enough to play that line. This one cuts right through the nose, and he only gets 4 hitting the head pin. Wants to get the ball over here into this area, like he's shooting a 3-6, 9-10, and throw the 3 over into the 4-7.
Close to what you diagrammed.
And both players start with an open frame. Jack's got to get that ball to push down the lane a little bit longer, and you heard him just say that was a little grabby. Anytime you grab it at the bottom, it's going to hook early, and no chance of holding line as you take a look at his arsenal going with the Anarchy.
And Jurek had the choice of where this match would be played out, and he chose to finish on the left lane, which is what he's on right now here in the second.
And one of the definitions in the dictionary of anarchy is chaos, and right now that's pretty much the best way to describe his ball reaction.
Good cleanup by Jurek, so he goes open frame spare, and suddenly the opening open frame by Dick Allen doesn't look so bad.
Hear him blowing in that thumb hole. Puts a little moisture in there. Gives him a nice, secure feeling in that thumb.
Gets all 10 to drop.
Actually went with a little less loft there to get that ball to react down the lane. Remember, we talk about it all the time when we watch Mika. The longer the ball's in the air, the less time it has to hook. Richie's got a higher rev rate and a little more speed. That's why he's able to play that direct line.
You're talking about the thumb. He was telling us a major grip change recently with tape, and the thumb wanted to be faster coming out of the thumb and locking out that elbow. Made some adjustments, and has really paid off thus far for the new dad. Back-to-back jacks for Dick Allen.
And Rob, you mentioned it, that new change in the thumb. He's trying to clean up that release. We're used to watching the ball get pretty much airborne for the first third of the lane when Richie Allen is bowling under the bright lights. Much cleaner at the bottom of the swing for him.
Jurek steps up to close out the third. His last title came in early September of '09.
Good shot, Jack.
Oh, drop and give me 10 there in the third for his first strike.
It was interesting when we talked with him a few weeks ago. Jack's always been known as a player that likes to go straight, and he said, you know, I'm having some struggles with my straight game. I like to get a little softer and move in and hook it a little bit. But when I watched him do that in practice, he never was able to get the ball to recover down lane. Put a good touch on that, Rob.
Yeah, dialed in there with strikes now in the third and the fourth to match the double thrown by Allen. Take a look at Dick Allen's arsenal.
That Mission 250K has been getting a lot of action. Man. Really nice shot here. Watch the 6-pin just sling right around the 10. The spare here, we're all even.
That's one of those shots you cannot be disappointed with.
Yes and no.
Mentally, I'm saying you can't get yourself down about that.
Again, yes and no. I mean, here's the thing, Rob. Go on. At a U.S. Open? Absolutely not. Because it's hard enough just to hit the pocket. On an oil pattern where you've got a little bit of room left and right, you got a pretty good idea of how to get your ball to the pocket. All you have to do is somewhat execute, and you're working on a double. And I leave a ring in 10. I could have taken the lead. No, I'm not real happy with it.
All right, I see what kind of guy you are. Glass half empty. So here is Allen as we begin the 5th. I love these conversations between you and me, my friend.
We should do it more often.
Perhaps we should. Now Allen bounces back with a big strike there on the left lane in the 5th.
Pretty good pitch, too.
And Jack Jurek stepping up, working on a double. And Jack, after a rocky start, what adjustment did you make to throw that double?
Actually, I was a little anxious in the beginning. My hand was down a little bit, so I put a little piece of tape in. Tried to firm up my grip a little bit, so I didn't have to put the death grip on it.
Thanks, Jack.
You got it. Oh, God. Woo!
Now, that 10-pin I'm really happy with if I'm Jack Jurek.
I was waiting for you to go there. Did not like it at the release. Look away, comes back at it. Almost got a Brooklyn strike.
Yeah, dead left out of his hand. Make the 10-pin, trail by 1, regroup, back on the left lane and throw a strike.
And it's that one to drop. That one looked like it was heading for the gutter at first. And I know Jack Jurek. He knows this stuff. Zoned in.
Jack doesn't miss spares.
You would have said that about Mika Koivuniemi as well, my friend.
I think I did.
Yeah. So Jurek, open frame, spare, strike, strike, spare. As we begin the 6th of a 1-pin match. Strike number 3 for the Ripper.
You just love that nickname, don't you?
Hard not to like it.
It really is.
And hard not to like that guy. Jack Jurek, the native of Lackawanna, New York. Back on the strike train as he drops all 10 there in the 6th. The conclusion of Jurek Allen when we return to Indy. Welcome back to the conclusion of match number 2 today at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. The scene and sounds just moments ago between Dick Allen and his coach, Del Ballard Jr.
You know, just that thing when, you know, you go and you start pushing too quick. You get that pushing and that stepping and then go and stay back and stay upright so it falls through that window a long ways. So that 10-pin was a pretty good shot. Gosh, dang. So, yeah, that's all. Yep.
Great advice. What Richie Allen is referring to is if he tips early, the ball gets into the swing quick. When it gets into the swing quick, it's going to arrive at the release point too early, which will make him pull it. Make sure he keeps his shoulders back and don't drop it into the swing too soon.
Big backswing, second double of the afternoon.
And isn't it amazing when you start focusing on the right thing, how you get your body to perform? Now watch this. Drops the ball into the swing, keeps those shoulders nice and quiet, doesn't get too far over it, and because of that, he gets to the foul line ahead of the bowling ball.
This really is a different Richie Allen. You know, you can move beyond the name change to Dick Allen, a more fatherly name, but ever since His little daughter, Piper Bailey, came into the world. You see the very charismatic, outgoing Allen kind of closing shop just a little bit and getting that mature focus.
Oh, no.
With the youthful energy. And that one right of target.
Richard.
And that looked like it was dropped in quick. And that could be just pure adrenaline. He gets that double, pures it, gets that double, gets the lead, and then all of a sudden you hear him shoulder. Just a little quick.
Oh, no. Richard.
Talk about adrenaline. What advice do you give people out there to corral that adrenaline? Great pickup by Allen.
A little bit of luck there, man. A little bit of luck.
Never hurts.
A little bit of luck never hurt. I'm just twice that
Adrenaline back in the Allen camp.
Come on, Dick.
And that's the way you make the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
Your Bear pain relief replay. Great pickup for Allen.
And Rob, getting back to your question, you can't get ahead of yourself. You can't look ahead. You can't think ahead. You have to stay in the moment.
And Jurek with his second double.
Now, let's see what he does on this next shot. He's been sitting for a bit, sitting during the commercial, gets up, throws a beautiful shot there to double up and take the lead. Now, it's all about this next shot.
And he moves to the left lane, which is where he will close out this match as well.
He chose to finish on the left lane. His decision. Now it's time to make good on it.
Last two shots on the left lane have been strikes for Jurek. 3 in a row on that left lane.
Yeah, he manned up. He manned up right there. It said, you know what? Here's my opening. I'm going to take it. I'm working on a strike. I'm going to get up and throw 2 big strikes right here for a 3-bagger and get me a 14-pin lead. Bang! Almost another pocket 7-10 on that right lane. Time's running out for Richie Allen. We'll give him a spare here. He can strike out for 222.
And remember, Allen will be closing out on that right lane.
This is a good shot. He keeps his shoulders back there. A little issue with the landing, but that's a good shot.
Drops the 10. We move on to the ninth. When this match is over, a great showdown of #1 seeds awaits. Jason Belmonte, your Southwest regional champ, taking on Chris Barnes, who won the West Northwest region. That one coming up at the conclusion of Allen Jurek.
I like what Richie Allen's doing right here. He's taking his time. This is the biggest shot of this tournament for Dick Allen. This will set up the 10th frame for him and give him a chance to win this match. Disappointed, but there's still a chance. Jack Jurek is in the 2 teens. Richie Allen can strike out for 222. It's all going to come down to what Jack Jurek does right here on the 9th frame on the tough right lane and how he finishes.
Be afraid of that lane.
See what happens when it gets into your head? Hard to pull the trigger when there's that little indecisiveness when your mind is saying, don't miss too far to the left, don't miss too far to the right, or else. Start to get a little tentative. Now, he is facing a tough 3-6-10 spare. He needs to convert here and then throw a double in 9 to lock this up.
Takes care of the 3-6-10. Nice veteran conversion by Jurek. Allen looks on in the background. Jurek up a dozen as we go to the 10th.
Look out on his good lane.
25 years of doing that crap. You're kidding me, Jack?
3, 4, 6, 7. To have any chance, in my opinion, he has to make this.
Could have ever finished anything off.
Has the 3, has the 4, not the 6 or the 7.
Richie Allen needs a mark and good count. The best kind of mark, a strike.
Come on, finish it, Richie.
There's your strike. Now that is it. That is all she wrote.
Win this one for the baby. Do my best, bud. Do my best.
So the smile appears as Dick Allen moves on to join Randy Weiss in next week's championship round. 2 underdog Cinderella stories, yeah. Throw it hard, throw it strong, they don't tend to drop, and move on.
I'll tell you, the turning point was in the 7th frame when he left a 5-count washout and was able to convert that. And then obviously the errant shot in open frame in the 10th by Jack Jurek.
Closes out the 10th.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thank you.
With a triple. And the classy Jack Jurek steps aside for Dick Allen, who gets pen, goes to paper, and signs up for the championship round next Sunday back here in Indy. We know Allen will be there. We know Randy Weiss will be there. Who will join them? It'll be a #1 seed. Jason Belmonte. Chris Barnes, the winner, to move on to Indy. Randy Peterson back here with you. 2 down, 1 to go, and it's the title match that we've really been kind of looking forward to all day long as Chris Barnes and Jason Belmonte get set to square off, 2 #1 seeds. Your early thoughts on how this one is going to roll out?
Well, it's all about power versus experience. The power of Jason Belmonte versus the experience of Chris Barnes. I went down and watched the players early in practice. It looked like Jason Belmonte had a little bit of an advantage because of that power. He got his ball to face the pocket a lot stronger. His reaction looked better.
Barnes, one of those guys on the tour that really knows how to manipulate those lanes when he finds himself in the hole. All right, time now for today's More of What Matters to You fan question, brought to you by the makers of One a Day. And for some reason, somebody wants to know something about us. It comes from Kenny Ryan of Ocean Township, New Jersey. Guys, what is your favorite part about being an announcer on the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour? Randall?
It's got to be working with you. My favorite thing is that every show is different. You never really know what's going to happen. The last couple of seasons, we've had some of the most dramatic moments in the history of professional bowling, and you and I have been a part of that.
Yeah, I think the point being, you never know when history is going to be made, and we have been blessed to see a lot of history on the PBA Tour. Who knows, maybe more in store here in Indianapolis. We almost had a 300 game last week. That's on my bucket list, so by the way, maybe we'll get one here. We know we're going to get a 3rd finalist for sure. 2 #1 seeds square off when we return to Indianapolis. Chris Barnes versus Jason Belmonte on the backside. They are both #1 seeds in their respective brackets here at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Jason Belmonte, the two-handed wonder from down under. and former Player of the Year, Chris Barnes. Today, these two competitors with global reputations duke it out for the West Conference Championship. Welcome back to Indianapolis. Heading into the finals of the 1969 New Orleans Open, Dick Weber had not won a title in a little over 3 years, the longest winless drought of his career. And Weber broke that streak the hard way, coming all the way from the bottom of the stepladder to win 4 matches. He started it off by beating Butch Gerhardt, then proceeded to take down 3 future Hall of Famers, Ski Foremski, Jim Stefanich, and in the title match, he took care of Bill Allen to claim his 18th career win. Speaking of Hall of Famers, Randy Peterson back here with you. Rob Stone, glad you're with us in Indianapolis. Jason Belmonte, your Southwest Region champion. And Chris Barnes advancing from the West Northwest region. Time now for the intros of our 2 finalists.
The 2008 World 10-Pin Bowler of the Year has one career PBA Tour title. Belmo, Jason Belmonte.
Third and final conference championship matchup of the day. Randy Weiss, Dick Allen have already moved on to next week's 3-man championship round. Belmo or Barnes will join them. Right of target right off the bat.
The last shot that I saw Jason Belmonte throw in practice on this left lane, he went straight through the nose, only getting 4. Looks like he's trying something to figure out on that left lane. He chose to start the match so he could finish this conference championship match on the right lane. Bad break there, wrapping the 1 around the 10.
A 13-time champion on the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour and Triple Crown winner, Chris Barnes.
13 tour titles for the man who's been on the tour for 13 years. Won this year's PBA World Championship in Las Vegas in mid-January, which gave him the Triple Crown.
And as good as this guy is, he should have 30 titles. You ask the players out here who the best player physically is, they'll probably tell you that guy right there. You take a look at his arsenal going with pure physics, which only makes sense in the sport of bowling.
You were always a science geek, weren't you, growing up?
Actually, biology.
That's a science.
Oh, yeah.
We move on. Here's Barnes in the second.
One more.
Messenger drops the 10. A big drop.
Okay, no harm, no foul. Staying with the theme. Shreds the rack, head pin comes across, 7 and 10 both standing. Now it's just the 7.
Barnes strike spare to start off this one. Here's Jason Belmonte. Open frame in the first. Just missed converting the washout.
What a way to start. Washout left lane, right through the heart right lane. 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. When you have that much power going through the head pin, it's usually going to spell disaster.
Back to back opening frames and a 17 after 2 for Belmo.
And the last thing you want to do is give Chris Barnes breathing room and let him get comfortable. So take a look at Jason Belmonte's arsenal. Going with Prodigy, and high road. High road right lane, Prodigy left lane.
That was a mean strike. There was some anger with that one, and Belmo bounces back, and he'll take a seat, and Chris Barnes step up. And Chris, after seeing Jason drop open frames in his 2 first frames, what does that do to your mentality as you approach the third?
It means he can shoot 257 if he strikes out. But, you know, the scores haven't been super high so far, but I think it still has a real good chance of being 220 or 30 to win this game.
So that's Chris Barnes joining us on PBA Talkback. Always amazed at how quick you guys do the math. Always knows. You guys always know where you are and where your opponents are. Barnes strikes spare. Here he is in the third. Two strikes in a row on that right
You see where Chris Barnes is playing just slightly to the right of fourth arrow at the 15-foot mark out to about the 10th board. But right now he's got pocket on both lanes.
Drops late.
Well, this time it's the 7 that goes. Last time on the left lane, it was the 10 that went late. Both times the 7-10 is staring at him.
When you have that back-to-back potential 7-10s, what is that saying about your shot?
Well, it's telling you you're close. Just a minor tweak to get the ball to face up a little bit stronger or a little bit sooner. But right now, quite honestly, Rob, Jason Belmonte hasn't proven that he can hit the pocket more than once in a row.
Belmonte starting off with open frames and then getting a strike in the third. Down 23. He is on the right lane, which is where he will finish off this match. Back-to-back jacks for Belmo.
Huge break after going back-to-back open frames. And very unusual to play the way he's attacking this pair. Watch where he's playing on the left lane. Right of second arrow. About as fast as he can throw it with his hand up the back. Here's where he's playing on the right lane. Left of fourth arrow. Right now, Jason Belmonte trying to use all his moxie to dial in some type of consistent reaction. Two different bowling balls, two completely different lines.
Just one career Lumber Liquidator PBA Tour title for Jason Belmonte, the native of Australia. 10-pin drops. Good shot. That was a nasty messenger.
This is a slam dunk messenger right here, Rob. I mean, you want to talk about a fast rip the rack head pin going to the sidewall and coming over and just doing some nasty stuff to the 10-pin. Right back into this match after a disastrous start. Only trails by 3.
Three shots, 3 strikes for Barnes on that right lane. And now we go to the left.
And
that is where he will finish this match.
And the last 2 times on that lane, we almost
saw 7-10s.
We almost saw 7-10 splits.
Almost saw. Left the 7 in the second, left the 10 in the fourth, was able to clean up both of them, but for a brief moment, he was staring 7-10s. No 7-10 there. All 10 in the pit. A little pit party there for Mr. Barnes. His first pair, he has 4. And he has the lead by 13. One of these two will move on to join Randy Weiss and Dick Allen next week in our Dick Weber PBA Playoffs Championship round. Find out when we return to Indy. Rob Stone and Hall of Famer Randy Peterson back with you in Indianapolis for the conclusion of match number 3. Jason Belmonte down 13 pins. Belmo, you started off with back-to-back open frames. Since then, 3 strikes. What has changed?
Well, the second strike I got there was a little fortunate, but yeah, it always takes me a couple of shots to just kind of relax. And you know, when you're playing Chris, you do get a little bit more excited because he's one of the best ever. So I just got to make sure that I stop bowling against him and just bowl my frames.
Belmo, the politician, dropping in a little compliment there as well. As Barnes looks on, you see in the background your bracket. And one of these two guys will be autographing it in a few minutes to mark that they have moved on to the championship round next Sunday. Of the Australian variety.
And there's just some nasty pin action going on, and that's what speed and power will do for you. The most amazing thing to me when I watch the two-handers is how they're able to generate so much ball speed. I know the revolutions are going to be there. Anytime you don't use your thumb, the revolutions are going to be there. But try throwing it with 2 hands at about 21 miles an hour. Not easy. I got to tell you, this is pretty amazing to watch. A guy that hooks it that much, going that straight and fast on the left lane. He's playing the big hook on the right lane and just throwing BBs right at the 1-3 pocket on the left.
And now he's taken the lead as well.
And he's just throwing a 5-bagger right at Chris Barnes, saying, "Come on, it's time to take off the gloves."
Now Barnes working off a pair, seeking a triple here in the 7th. And finds that triple.
See that ball roll out and stop right in front of the head pin. Very fortunate to not leave the solid 7. Another great shot by Barnes.
Let's fire up the RV and keep it where it is. We'll be right back here next Sunday, Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis for our live coverage of the Lumber Liquidators Dick Weber PBA playoffs. You can see it 1 Eastern, 1 week from today. You already know Randy Weiss will be there. Dick Allen, 2 guys from South Carolina. Moving on to our championship round, our 3rd and final conference championship match of the day going on right now, and it has suddenly become a back-and-forth affair between Belmonte and Barnes, 2 #1 seeds duking it out. We begin the 8th. Here's Barnes with a slim 3-pin lead.
Well, I'll tell you, Rob, I don't know what's gotten into Chris Barnes lately, but the last time we saw him at the PBA World Championships, he was flawless. Today, same thing. This guy is bowling and rolling his bowling ball.
This is a great showdown. We were really excited about this matchup coming into the broadcast, and it has lived up to it. Jason Belmonte, remember, started this match with back-to-back open frames. Since then, 5 strikes in a row. Right of target leaves double wood.
Jason, you're gonna throw it there. Trust it.
Well, this could spell potentially some huge trouble for Jason Belmonte. He's going to fall farther behind now, and the frames are running out. Needs to convert the 2-8. Chris Barnes is in the 220s. Belmonte will be at 215 if he converts here.
High conversion rate on TV through the years, as you just saw.
Remember, he chose to finish on that right lane, Rob. The last 3 shots thrown on that lane by Belmo have all been light. This is the big shot right here for the tournament. Biggest shot coming up. 9th frame sets up the 10th. If he strikes here, he has a potential 235. It's just amazing. He can not only hook it, throw it fast, but he can also control what direction his bowling ball rolls in. Much more up the back on that left lane to control the down lane reaction. Watch this. I mean, this is as fast as he can throw it, end over end. Look at the subtle movement right there. On the right lane, it's the exact opposite. He's trying to flip his hand around the side to get the ball to turn the corner. He's set up his 10th frame. He's done his job. Now it's up to Chris Barnes. A strike here puts him in the high 230s.
He's up 15, looking for 5 in a row. Drops the nickel.
Again, just a magnificent shot from Chris Barnes. That puts him in the high 230s. He needs good count in any kind of mark in the 10th frame, and he will shut out Jason Belmonte. First strike here in the 10th, it's over. Watch him snap the 6 snap the 10 out like that. That's when you know that you've got a great touch at the bottom of the swing. Chris Barnes has got it going on.
What a closeout job by Chris Barnes, your Northwest region winner. And well, he was challenged by Jason Belmonte, who put himself in that early hole with those open frames. Rallied to retake the lead, but Barnes
Ryan Troy
never lost it, never skidded off the road.
Belmonte put pressure on him with that 5-bagger. He let Chris know that he was still there, but Chris rose to the occasion and basically bowled perfectly. 260, could have been 300. Remember, almost back-to-back 710s on the left lane. What a good guy.
Well, the good news for Jason is he can get home.
Yeah, he can get home now.
Get home and see his family, see his beautiful daughter, Mario Rose. It's been a long time on the road for the Australian native. Made a game run here at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. But it comes to a close.
Thanks, guys.
As fellow #1 seed Chris Barnes sends him packing for home. 260, 199. Barnes in
the fun part here,
dominating fashion. Is able to sign the bracket again to move on to your final 3-man show next Sunday. We'll wrap things up from Indy after this. Time now for the Geico Championship recap. Match #1, Steve Jaros taking on Randy Weiss. Weiss getting a big strike there in the 10th to apply some pressure to Jaros. It whiffs, and Weiss moves on 191, 179. Dick Allen taking on Jack Jurek, 10th frame. Jurek needing a strike, goes through the nose. Door wide open. Dick Allen sees door, slams door. Closed with the 4-bagger, 222, 198. He advances. And then our battle of 1 seeds, and it was all Chris Barnes strikes in the 1st, 3rd, and 5th through the conclusion. A 260, 199 victory over Jason Belmonte, and Randy standing by now with Chris Barnes.
Thanks, Rob. And Chris, you know, I know there's no secret to the fact that you've had some issues on television before, but I got to be honest, since the World Championships, your performance there last week and today have been amazing. What's turned around for you?
I think really it started a couple years ago, right before I went back-to-back in Columbus and in Norwich. Mark Baker figured out a couple things I was doing in the middle of my approach, and when I really wanted shots, I was getting forward early, made my swing steep, and then I was going by, and I was, leaving 2 pins, or they'd hook early on me, and for some reason I didn't figure that out. But now I know what my hitch is in the giddy up, and so when I have those shots where I know I'm really trying, I have a key to focus on, and now I'm making the same shots at the end of the games I'm making at the beginning.
And does that happen when the anxiety level goes up?
Yeah, mostly when the match gets a little more intense. We all know which shots matter. I mean,
sure.
Anybody who says they don't is, I know the theory is you throw them all the same, but the reality is you don't. And you don't feel the same in the first frame as you do in the 9th frame.
So now going into the finals, you're the guy with all the experience, all the titles. You got a couple of guys, Randy Weiss, that's never been there before. Richie Allen's got a couple of wins, but you're the man. How do you use that to your advantage?
Well, we'll go into the same experiences we've had before. TV's not new to me, but Randy Weiss threw 3 in the 10th to get by his first TV show. So experience doesn't necessarily get you any bonus spins. I'm going to have to go out. I'll have to bowl another big game, probably 240 or 50, the way these guys bowl. And if I do that, then I like my chances.
Describe how much fun this unique format has been for you.
Well, the winners always like the format, so. But it is good. It's not a best of 3. It was 6 games. You had enough time for some mistakes to happen and still survive. You didn't have to win every time, but it rewarded good bowling consistently. And, that kind of plays into my strengths a little bit, so I'm a fan.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck next week.
So Chris Barnes moves on. See him in action next Sunday live right here from Indianapolis, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Former tour roommates Randy Weiss, Dick Allen will be there as well. So the Dick Weber PBA playoffs coming close to a close. It's been 3 weeks worth of coverage. The 4th coming 1 week from today at 1 Eastern on ESPN. Steve Jerus making a game run, winning the East region, but would eventually fall to Randy Weiss. Dick Allen taking care of Jack Jurek today, and Jason Belmonte falling to Chris Barnes. Your 3 finalists are set for next Sunday. For Randy Peterson and our entire crew, I'm Rob Stone. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We'll see you again next Sunday.